The podcast that you're about to listen to may cause some listeners to forego their usual black coffee for maybe some coffee with a little bit of cream and sugar in it.
Well, hey there, happy innovators. How are you all doing today? I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that you're ready for yet another album description. Only this time it's going to be a description of the pipe choir album, The Wrench and The Rubicon, released in 2021. And so I hope that you're into something like that. Maybe grab yourself a cup of coffee, either black or with some cream or sugar in it. Doesn't matter. And we'll get into this thing. So by the year 2020, 5 years ago, I had released 3 full-length albums for pipe choir. I released the debut album. I released the Escons album in 2017. I released the Last Major Sin album in 2020. And this was going to be the next release for pipe choir. So I had experimented a lot with the Last Major Sin album in 2020, and I was satisfied with the Last Major Sin. I had experimented a lot with the music and the ideas and the productions, and after coming out of 2017 and the bummer that Escons turned out to be, at least for me, I was pretty satisfied and had vindicated myself when I released The Last Major Sin. So some of the songs that wound up being on The Wrench and the Rubicon were written and recorded at the same time that The Last Major Sin was being recorded, but for one reason or another I had decided to omit some of the songs from The Last Major Sin and save them for The Wrench and the Rubicon. We'll get into that a little bit more in just a little while. But I guess if I'm going to be talking about The Wrench and the Rubicon, there's kind of a long and sordid story that comes along with it, because right around the time I was wrapping up the release of The Last Major Sin, I had what I would refer to as probably a life-changing event. Without going into too much detail, because it's pretty personal, but, I was running around one day, just like I always have, and then all of a sudden, I just kind of felt really strange. So I went to the emergency room, and I was diagnosed with a very serious medical condition that was going to require some intervention, and some of it was going to be possibly dangerous and maybe even life-threatening surgery. And I was just totally freaked out, All of a sudden it was on me, and I wasn't prepared. I had never experienced anything like this before. I was 50 years old, and I had never been in the hospital overnight. I barely ever got stitches. You know what I mean? I was one of those people, I never went to the hospital. I never had a reason to really go. So all of a sudden I was put in a situation where, I was in pretty big trouble health-wise, and it was just out of the blue, right? So right when I was releasing the Wrench and the Rubicon album, or right before anyway, up until that time, I was going to call this album The Wrench. The Wrench was an allusion to the movie Good Will Hunting. There's a scene in the movie where Matt Damon is talking to Robin Williams and explaining how his father abused him or whatever, and he expresses this idea that his father used to put down on the table a belt and a wrench, and he could pick which one he wanted to be beaten with, and he would pick the wrench because it hurt more. He did it as an act of defiance to his abusive father. So that always stuck in my mind. And even like between my wife and myself, when we have an experience where we're doing something like that, like we're taking on the brunt of a negative situation, we'll refer to that as the wrench, you know? And we've just done that for years. So this title for this album, The Wrench, was very old, and we're going back, you know, a long time ago. I had decided I was going to do an album called The Wrench, and I started to assemble the songs, pulling them into a file called The Wrench, and these are the songs that are going to be on this new album. And then right at the last minute, like when all this was shaken down, the album's being released, I'm going in for really serious, dangerous, and invasive surgery that was life-threatening for the first time in my life. I decided that I wanted to tack on the Rubicon, because the Rubicon is a famous bridge in Europe somewhere where, you know, there was this major battle that took place, and once they crossed this bridge called the Rubicon, once they crossed it, there was no going back. You have to go through to go out. Okay? So that made a lot of sense to me. The Wrench and the Rubicon. Now, just a strange little side note. If you look at the cover art for the album, the cover art for The Wrench and the Rubicon is actually the scars from my surgery. Okay? I literally, you know, photographed my body and I drew the scar that was left on my body. And that's the cover art for The Wrench and the Rubicon. It looks like an exclamation point with two periods on each side, which is strange because whenever I write to people, I don't use a period, I use an ellipse, like 3 dots. So I thought that was kind of strange. It just happened to be that way. But anyway, while going through this experience of surgery and near death and, you know, mortality, really, the Wrench and the Rubicon, I was releasing these songs and these videos too. Remember, I shoot videos for the songs. So, I mean, there were times when I was literally, you know, like the day before my surgery, shooting a video with the Band of Bots. I think it was for Bomb Bomb Breakthrough. That video was the day before my surgery. So I was like freaking out. I was convinced that it was going to go bad. You know, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong in a surgery. And I was just absolutely convinced that something was going to go wrong. And fortunately for me, that wasn't the case. It actually went a lot better than everybody expected. But the long and the short of it is that I was, you know, in this real malaise, you know, of fear and doubt and worry while, you know, releasing these songs. So having said all that, you know, I should also note here that I was determined to do a lot of things on this album for the first time, like a lot of first times for things. And as the description goes on, you'll see what I mean. I'll explain it to you, but it was a conscious decision I made to make this an album of doing things I don't normally do, like doing things for the first time. So now that you heard all that, let's get into this thing. The description for the Pipe Choir album, The Wrench and the Rubicon, and released in 2021. And let's check this out. Okay, so we got the first track here, A Slave to Nothing. Kind of like a personal anthem. Oh, I love that music. When I was working on this song, I had purchased a new keyboard that I use all the time now, but this was the first song that I used that keyboard on. can hear it in there. I just thought it was great. But this song was originally called Star Sun Stride, all one word, StarSunStride, Star Sun Stride. And it was faster and a little more upbeat and everything. And one day I was watching a video with Robert Plant and Jimmy Page called The Truth Explodes. It was a song that they did. I think they were playing like in Morocco or something. And it was basically just a drum loop that they had with Jimmy Page playing guitar and Robert Plant singing on top of it. And it was so cool. The sample that they used, the drums that they had, was so cool. I decided to take that idea, make a beat like that, and put this song to that beat. And that's what we have here. Okay, that's what you hear right now. It's a slower version of the song, a little more ethereal, but I had, omitted the drums from the final mix, so I took them out, but they were used as like the foundation for this song, this rhythm, and I took them out. I do that a lot with my songs, when I'm recording, especially for PC3, I do that a lot. I love the sound of this music. I also like the message of the song, really, too, which is basically like I said, like an anthem about like freedom, not being a slave to anything. Can any of us, you, me, or anyone else, can we really be free? Like, can we really be a slave to nothing? Like Bob Dylan once said, everybody's going to serve somebody. You got to serve somebody, whether you're rich or poor or whatever. You're going to have to serve somebody. And so this was kind of like a challenge to that idea. Can we be a slave to nothing? Like, for instance, like I used to smoke cigarettes, and I was a slave to that addiction, right? So I had to stop smoking, and I did. I quit smoking cigarettes, and I was a slave to cigarette smoking, right? So I'm no longer a slave to that. That's the way I see it anyway. And that's just an example, right? There's all kinds of things you could roll into that. Being a slave to nothing is, if it's not impossible, it's at least very difficult to really do. So this is a song about encouraging that. Can anybody really be a slave to nothing? Nothing. Have nothing that you are a slave to. I guess it's all part of the human condition, right? Love the music, and I love the lyrics too, but I really like the music. Kind of this epic, lush sound to start the album, right? Slave to nothing. So let's see, what do we have next? Oh yeah, Anatoly. A lot of people liked the guitar in this song. They actually told me that. Oh, I was so proud of this song. It originally started out as a song called The Hardest Thing to Be. And it was an older song idea I had, and I changed the whole thing around and made it a completely different song, wrote different lyrics, the music changed, the arrangement changed, and it became this song, Anatoly. This song and these lyrics were inspired by a movie I love called The Island, and it was an independent film. This was the first time I ever wrote a song about a film. So that was a first, right? The album of firsts. The first time I ever did that. And I based the lyrics on this character in the film whose name was Anatoly. So when I wrapped this song up, I didn't have a title for it. And I just decided to call it Anatoly because that's what I'm actually singing about. This character in this film that I really kind of related to. And it was a fantastic film, you know? Enough to make a very, very strong impression on me. Listen to that. Yeah. Save me from myself. Yep. Heal me. Come to me. Save me from myself. I guess it's kind of like a prayer. I guess, you know. This song came together really fast, too. You know, it started out being a song called The Hardest Thing to Be, and then rapidly changed into what you're hearing right now. Very, very good production, as far as I'm concerned. Very happy with this. I listen to this one a lot. Save me from myself. I'm my own worst enemy. I love this. The video for this was shot while I was going through the pre-op, surgery stuff. So it was like, it was crazy. I was freaking out. I was freaking terrified, Yeah, Anatoly. It was a crazy time. Love that song. So let's see, what do we have next? Oh, yeah. Okay. Circuit Freaker. Oh, I wrote this song a long time ago. And it was written as an instrumental piece. I didn't have any lyrics to it or anything. And when I redid it for this album, it remained an instrumental. And that was a first for me. It's kind of funny because when I originally recorded this idea, or when I originally wrote it and recorded it, the session for the song that I recorded it in wound up getting lost. The system crashed and I lost all the data. It was gone. This song, and there was like a few more that wound up being on this album, like Rocking Back and Forth. They got lost. Now, this mix that we're listening to right now, this is kind of a funny story, but the doctors that I was dealing with at that time had given me this medication that was supposed to make things like easier for me, And so this medicine was way too strong. I mean, it was crazy. I was like tripping. it was crazy. And I was mixing this song down at that moment. It was like for maybe 3 or 4 days, 5 days, I had to take these pills. So when I was mixing this down, I put this effect on the entire mix. It's called a flanger. And I would never normally do that. I mean, it was just something I wouldn't do. And I wound up doing it because I was tripping on these pills, you know? This sounded amazing to me when I was tripping on these pills. But I wound up, putting this effect over the entire mix, which is crazy to do. I would never do that, but it was the first time I ever did that. So again, this is the album of firsts, right? So the first time I ever put an effect over an entire mix of a song. One effect that gives it that sound that's like air, like that. You can hear it on the guitars. It's like this weird kind of like sizzle that, sine wave or something that goes in and out, up and down. Can you hear it? Hear it? Yeah, it's true. Oh, that was crazy. The doctors were like, okay, don't take that anymore. You don't need to take that anymore. Okay, thank you. I mean, I could barely walk. I mean, it was crazy. I was psychedelic, man. Anyway, let's see what we got going on next. Let's see. Oh, Everything Will Be All Right. This was a really old song. It was written like in 1991. And there was a guy in my town that was in a band, and he had a little recording studio in his basement. And he had expressed to me that he wanted to record one of my songs in his studio. So I went over to his house, and we set everything up, and we're recording and everything. And he was a really cool guy. We got along really well. And unfortunately, that recording came out absolutely terrible. Okay? But all these years later, right, I heard it, and I was thinking to myself, wow, that really sucked. The song is probably pretty good, but the recording was so bad. Maybe if I brought that song like into the present, like into my studio now, and I redid it, maybe it would sound pretty good. And that's what we're listening to right now. Kind of sounds like the Jesus and Mary chain. They're a very big influence on me. I can definitely hear that. And I love the video for this song that I made. It is fantastic. Perfect. Like one single kind of like camera shot of this girl dancing around. Oh, it was fantastic. I loved it. Still do. I love it. And right after I finished recording this song and the album was released, it got snapped up into a movie like right away. I was kind of surprised. They picked this song to put in a movie. Very simple, like pop song, I wanted to do that. I wanted it to be like a pop song. Radio, I wrote this when I was like 20 years old. It was so long ago. I'm old now, man. Oh, I love this song. My wife does too. It's like whenever it comes on, like turn that up. I love it. Yeah, the Jesus and Mary chain, the Manchester British influence. You can hear it. It's all over that song. I love it. I love it. Oh yeah, rocking back and forth. This is another one of those sessions that was lost. Like when my system crashed, the original version of this song just was gone. Okay, but fortunately I had mixed down like a rough mix of the song, so I knew where everything was, how it went, and all that kind of stuff. The only bummer was the guitar that's like the lead guitar in the song. When I did it on my old session, the original session, I kind of hit some bummer notes on the guitar, and my system crashed, so I was left with this mix of the song that had kind of like these wonky notes on the guitar. You can hear that lead guitar right there? Yeah, like I had to replay all this guitar work, note for note, exactly. I listened to it and meticulously copied it exactly the way it was, only this time, obviously, I didn't hit those bummer notes. So I could finally have a version of this song that, I could live with, right? I love listening to it now because it was kind of hard to get it right. I stayed true to the original song too. Nothing changed except for the drums. I added drums to it. Like the drums that you hear right now were part of like a new process of recording my drums that I had discovered. And so that's what you're hearing is like the first usage of these new drums that I was kind of working on. It's hard to explain, it's very technical, but the long and the short of it is you're hearing the drums right now. This was the first time these drum sounds were used in a song. This process of recording drums. Now, when I recorded this song the second time, I did it exactly like I had done the first time, but I decided later on to kind of chop it up and rearrange it a little bit. So the singing changed, the song length changed. It was just like a little bit different, but I really did try to stay true to that original recording. And I lost that original recording. It was gone. All the data was gone. Everything. It was awful. I love this music. I love it. I like my voice there. Nice harmonies there. I like it. Good job. Yeah, this is a song about when you're all alone. Like at the end of the day, and you're thinking, and maybe you remember somebody and you miss them, a friend, Actually, now that I'm listening to this, I kind of think I might have been singing about that friend of mine who recently took his own life. We had stopped talking for a while, and I really missed him. We're talking like 11 years we didn't talk, or he wouldn't talk to me. And I just was heartsick. I loved him. I'm singing about it here, I think. It's kind of like a love song for a friend, There's all different kinds of love, right? You have romantic love and familial love and paternal love and all that. But, you meet all kinds of people in your life. And you don't love everybody, but some people you really do love. And this is a song about that kind of love. A song for a friend. Listen to that guitar. It's like crying. I love it. I love it. I love it. Meticulously, note for note, exactly trying to make it perfect, from that original take that I did all those years before. Sat down to re-record it, and I wanted to make sure that guitar was going to be spot on. I love it. I love this music. I do. I love it. It's what I've always wanted pipe choir to sound like, you know? I love it. Oh man, hell yeah. Bomb Bomb Breakthrough. Probably, if you were to ask me, probably, if it's not my best song in production, it's definitely in the top 3. I mean, I think this sounds fantastic. And it was originally recorded for The Last Major Sin, but I decided to hold off and carry it over to the next album because I thought it was pretty special. I wanted it to be a little more featured, you know? I kind of felt that The Last Major Sin had a lot of strong guitar rock, you know? So it was good to spread it out a little bit. But I would consider this to be one of my best. And this was written and recorded from start to finish in 2 days. I never have written a song like that fast that sounds like this. Unbelievable to me. I still can't believe it when I hear it now. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. This song was originally titled Love Bomb, like Lovebomb, Love Bomb, one word. And I had this friend from Brazil that I grew to care about a lot. She spoke Portuguese, so I found myself in conversation with her learning Portuguese by default, you know? And so I thought about the title Love Bomb, and in Portuguese, the word bomb, B-O-M, means good. So when something is good, they say bomb. And I thought, I'm not going to call it Love Bomb, I'm going to call it Bomb Bomb, Good Good Breakthrough. Because what I'm singing about is like the revelations that I was having at that time about my interactions with people that are out in the world, you know, strangers really, and befriending them, and the lessons you learn through that, you know, it's a breakthrough, a bomb, a very good breakthrough, bomb, breakthrough. Oh, listen to that. It's crazy. I don't even know how I thought of that. I don't even know. 2 days from zero to this. 2 days. I had nothing. I started with nothing. 2 days later, I had this. I wish I could do that every day. I wish it always went that way. And the video for this song was shot the day before my surgery. So when you watch the Bomb Breakthrough video, I am freaking out. I don't look like I'm freaking out, but I'm freaking out. I was terrified. Because the surgery was going to be very dangerous. I was convinced I might die, you know? Cool. A little breakdown here. Everybody needs something to believe. Everybody needs something to believe. So you want to put your finger in my side. Do you really think that you can read my mind? Everybody needs a little empathy. But the goal is inside. Inside you. Inside me. But the goal is inside. And the goal is love. Love. Hey! Bomb Bomb Breakthrough! Yay! Bomb Bomb Breakthrough. Love this song. Like I said, I consider it to be probably my best. Probably. That might change, but I don't know. I hope it does. I hope I make something that I think is better. Oh, what luck. What luck. That's all it was, too. It was not talent and skill. It was just like, I yanked this one right out of the ether, you know? It was floating there in the air, and I grabbed it and put it to tape, you know? Damn. Thank you. Oh, yeah, talk to me. You know, this song has kind of a story to it. Probably about a year and a half or 2 years before I released this album, I was asked by some guy in England if I wanted to collaborate with him on some music. And I said yes. So we agreed to certain things. I worked up a bunch of music, a bunch of ideas, drums, guitars, some singing, and I sent it to him in England. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the guy just completely cut me out of the project. He didn't use anything that I had done. I was extremely disappointed, like really pissed off, you know? And so about like a year and a half, 2 years later, I found that idea. I listened to it. I struck the music out, but I kept the drums because I liked the way that the drums sounded, and that's what you're hearing in this song. And I put this music on top of these drums, and the song kind of came together, you know, pretty quick and pretty nice. It flowed nicely. I liked it. And I released it probably a year before it was on the Wrench and the Rubicon. I released it as a single, like by itself, because I liked it so much and I wanted my fans to hear it. I love this music. It's a very simple song, you know, and I wanted it to be that way. Actually, Jeff Lynne from ELO had a song that he had released around this time. It was called When I Was a Boy, and I loved that song. I love everything he's ever done, but that song in particular really kind of struck me. It was really cool. So I wanted to do something similar to that, like in that kind of flow, that kind of idea. That's what you got here. I love the music. I love it. And the footage for this video was shot the same day that Kobe Bryant died. I remember my wife and I went to a cemetery. We were filming there. And then after that, we went to a restaurant to have dinner. And while we were eating dinner, they were reporting on the TV, like the news, that Kobe Bryant's helicopter had crashed. Why I remember that, I don't know, but it's kind of like one of those things. It's linked in my brain. And, you know, kind of like rocking back and forth. This song, that song, they're kind of like speaking to this friend of mine who wound up taking his life not too long ago. I'm singing to him, I think, in this song. Talk to me. Come on. You know? Love that song. Nice and simple. Ooh. Mapping the Stars. This song is exactly true to the original version of the song that I wrote. Most of the music that you hear was recorded like 10 years before I made this version. Like, most of this music is from the original, except for the drums. I redid the drums. That was it, though. Everything else is true to the original. And, you know, it's kind of weird. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I think this might be a song about the flat earth before I even knew about the flat earth. When I hear the lyrics now, like when I was working on the song too, it was years later after I had written it. And at the time I wrote it, I was just singing like stream of consciousness lyrics, like just what came out. It didn't make much sense, but it sounded good, and I wasn't sure what I was talking about. But all these years later, when I hear it now, I think, I don't know. Maybe I was speaking about the flat earth. There's a couple of things that make me think that, which I think is interesting, because we're talking about years before anybody was even talking about that kind of stuff. Predictive programming, right? I thought that the video for this song was fabulous. I think it's probably one of my best videos. It was based on the story The Little Prince, I believe, and the rose, and it looked like a professional video to me, you know. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I like the video a lot. And I love this music too. I do. A lot of the music on the Wrench and the Rubicon, there were some pretty special songs, you know, in my opinion. We're mapping the stars to find our way home. Anybody who knows anything about the flat earth theory would get what I'm talking about. You know, it's like almost like a sarcastic, we're mapping the stars to find our way home. Ooh, I love this music. Listen to that. It's got a little bit of somber, like sadness to it. I love it. What song? A little bit of a departure from my usual sound, too, probably. Oh, yeah, Followers. This one. Ooh, I love this song. This song and Mapping the Stars were written maybe like in the same month, you know, the same period of time. I think in my brain I kind of linked them together, which is probably why I had them in succession on this album. And there's a funny story about this too, because a long time ago when I first started to record and release music on the internet, there was a platform called Amy Street, and I was releasing my music there. And at that time, I was in the habit of, when I would be working in my studio and I would mix a song down, I would give it kind of like a funny title. I was playing around with it. I didn't really care. You know, experimenting with titles and words or whatever. So I had a version of this song that was finished, but the WAV file was titled Flowers, not Followers, Flowers, and then in parentheses, mixed, like a mix down. Flowers mixed. So my wife uploaded the song to Amy Street, not realizing that the title was wrong. So for like a while, the song existed on Amy Street under the title Flowers Mixed, which is hilarious, you know? And I don't do that anymore. I learned my lesson, okay? But my wife and I still laugh. Every time we hear this, she'll say it or I'll say it, you know, Flowers Mixed. And I just laugh. You know, it's like I can be so stupid sometimes. This song is a prayer, you know. When you listen to the words I'm saying, I know I spoke about it in the Demosis album description, so I won't go into it, but it's really true. Would you fill me up with you? Would you wash away my shame? Hear me calling out your name. God. Contrite heart. I consider that to be like a revolutionary act, actually saying the name God in a song. The song is called Followers, right? Get it? The followers of Jesus Christ. That's what I'm singing about. These Cure guitars, you know, like Robert Smith from The Cure. I can hear it all over this. Listen to that. I'm not like Eddie Van Halen, you know, flying around on the guitar and noodling. Just kind of simple notes, and I'm not an extremely great guitar player, you know. I get the job done, though. Sounds good. It's unusual music, you know. Not bad, not bad. I like it. Oh, and the video for this song, oh, it was so great. I was really, really freaking out, but I was happy too at the same time. The song sounded so good. Kind of helped me get through, you know, the Rubicon. Nice. Ah, nice piano sound. That's a Korg M1 piano. Very good piano sound. Yeah, Midnight on Jakeway. Yeah, this song started out, there was a song by a group called Massive Attack. They have a pretty famous song called Angel, and had this wicked kind of drum beat in it, this downbeat kind of thing that you hear happening in this song. And I decided I was going to take it. I was going to use it as a jumping off point for the song. And I did it. That's what you hear. Hear that drum beat? I love that.
We were on the long forgotten
Yeah, I'm singing about a place that some friends of mine and I used to sneak into out, where I lived, where I grew up. And it was a quarry called Jakeway Quarry. And, you can kind of slip in through a hole in the fence at night when no one was there. And we would go there and hang out and swim. And everybody was kind of just having like the time of their life. And there would be these little pockets of people, little groups like talking and hanging out. And everybody just having a good time. And there was this one girl that was there. And, I loved her. I did. A lot. And, it was kind of cool. Like, her parents loved me. Her mother and father loved me. And I distinctly remember having the thought or the feeling like, I hope that someday her parents could be my parents. Like, oh, that would be great. But wasn't meant to be. Never happened. It's not meant to be. Such is life. Oh, to be young again. It was great for me. I loved it. Another thing too that comes to mind when I hear this is how I'm singing and I have those two different vocal lines happening at the same time. I was doing that kind of like as a nod to Duran Duran. Actually, this whole song is really kind of like a nod to Duran Duran. They have these two songs I love, Save a Prayer and a song called The Chauffeur. I love those songs, and this was kind of like my tribute to them, and kind of like co-opting a little bit of the Simon Le Bon style of singing with these two separate vocal lines happening at the same time, but like clashing with each other, right? So that was a first. I never did that before. Like I said, this album, The Wrench and The Rubicon, is the album of firsts. And that was one of them. I love that guitar. I love it. Good notes. Emotional, Because I'm like a sentimental old fool, and I have no problem with that. I love people, and I miss people, and I love people unconditionally. If I love you, I really do. And unfortunately for me, that doesn't always mean anything. That's okay. That's what this song is about, though. That memory, the sentimental memories of when I was younger and how it felt, and the excitement and the thrill of being in love. Sentimental old fool. A choir sings to you. Get it? A pipe choir sings to you.
And the world just walked away, like the dawn climbs down today.
Yeah, that's how it goes in life.
It's a shame we couldn't stay.
Yeah, it's a shame we couldn't stay. How true. How true. Truth.
Lifeline.
Hey, Lifeline. Closing the album out. A song about help. Help. Well, it's true, right? That's what I'm singing about. Oh, I had this idea for years. I was throwing around these lyrics and stuff for years. There's a song called Trem Tram, On the Bright Side of the Moon, and a fire, a burning fire. I was using those lines a lot. over the years, you know. With falsetto in my voice, you know, that's a first. I'll show you what I mean. Listen to my voice right here. It's falsetto. Ready? So, never did that before in a song until this one. I took this song with me to Las Vegas when my mother-in-law died, and I had it like in my headphones the whole time we were there. You know, I was kind of working on the song, and I thought it sounded really good, and it kind of got me through that time, you know, when we were in Vegas dealing with the, you know, the funeral for her mother, and it was a rough time. But every night at the end of the night, we'd go back to our hotel, and I'd put the headphones on and crank this up and kind of close out the day listening to this. A plea for help, you know, kind of like singing from a real part of my being, my soul. But I thought that it was kind of like a universal message too. Help me. Yeah, help me and no one else. Help just me, okay? Help me. When I can't help myself. It makes me think of people that are like in recovery, you know, for alcohol or drugs or whatever. They're recovering from that and they need somebody to help them. That's what it makes me think of. Not that I ever had a problem with that. I never went to rehab, never had a drug problem, never had a drinking problem or any of that. But anyway, there you go. There's the description of the Pipe Choir album, The Wrench and The Rubicon. An album of, as far as I'm concerned, you know, pretty good songs. I mean, I'm very satisfied with The Last Major Sin, The Wrench and The Rubicon, and American Dream. Those are my favorites. But, you know, I guess I should close out by saying that my surgery went well. And everything is fine. Everybody was shocked at how well I did. And after that surgery, I carried on with life as if everything were the same as it always been. So I didn't die in surgery. I was okay. Everything was fine, even though I was extremely worried about it. And it was a strange brush with my mortality. And something I hope I don't have to do anytime soon again. But you never know. You never know. So, having said all that, having listened to all the music, my happy innovators, I hope that you enjoyed this little description of this album that I made back in 2021. And stay tuned for more stuff from Pipe Choir. Got all kinds of stuff going on, man. I am constantly doing something. So podcasts, videos, new music, new PC3 music. I mean, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. So pay attention, hang on. I got more coming down the pike. And with that, my happy innovators, remember this. If you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy, everybody. Okay, all you happy innovators that were kind enough and generous enough with your time to stick around to the end of this podcast for some music. And what I'm going to share with you today is that song I was talking about at the very beginning of the album description today. The song A Slave to Nothing. I had that song called Star Sun Stride, that version of the song that I wound up scrapping. I'm going to share it with you here, and I hope that you enjoy it. And Thanks everybody for listening to this podcast today. Take care of yourselves, have fun, and check it out. This is a song that you'll probably never hear on an album or anything. It's a version that's going to probably stay in the vault, but today we busted out for you Pipe Choir's Star Sun Stride. StarSunstride. Star Sun Stride. One word. And this song eventually became A Slave to Nothing. So check it out. Take it easy, everybody.